if you look at city governments, we usually come in after it's a problem and then try to solve it, and it's expensive. My concept, our concept is preventive, not dealing with on the back end. That's basically the mind frame. I want to address two ways we've looked at it. We did do, so we're doing all the street lights are going all LED, attached to a smart grid. So right now, you got to get a light fixed. Somebody watches it go out, it's the #1 call to 311, they got to call it in. We'll have a smart system attached to our LED light. We're saving $100 million in costs. It's attached to the smart grid and a system. We know when a light's about to go out, so we don't have to wait for it to go out. And we can send a crew out there to fix it in that effort. Certain neighborhoods may want the light to be dimmer. Other people want the lights to be much brighter. You'll be able to, rather than have one size for 360,000 streetlights across the city, you'll have diversity based on neighborhood, community, income. That's #1. The other thing we've done, and we're in the 16th month of this, so April, we just announced our 14th straight month of declining shootings in the city of Chicago. In the districts, we have put a predictive analytics. So police districts are set up, if this gang shoots that gang, stop the second shooting, the reactive. We're trying to stop the first shooting, so it's more proactive. In Englewood, which is on the south side of the city of Chicago, since we started in January of 17, they are down 68% in shootings. So it's not a statistical aberration. South Shore, which we started this year, January, is down 58%. Now, I'm not gonna say anything until I get to past this summer, right. But it's attached to a shot spotter, camera, et cetera. But again, preventive, not reactive. And when I think of technology and investment in smart city, it's how do a city adapt what it does using data to get on the front end of a problem rather than on the back end. When you have a smart city and you're talking about what you guys are talking about, you have to both, I would admonish us all to think about it from an equity standpoint. Right. When everybody's talking about technology and being smart and so on and so forth, that's not, if you don't have a level of education, that's a problem. Yep. And then two, you got to think about it from an access standpoint. Places that we have always thought of as public need to be reinvigorated as public. So every neighborhood library in the city of Chicago has a teacher from 3 to 6 to do homework help. I guarantee you, if your kids need help, you'll figure out a tutor. What if you can't afford it? So our neighborhood library system is free tutoring for every child. We have online free tutoring in English and Spanish on any subject 12 hours a day. You have to use institutions that are about inclusion and about cohesion in accessing the public and capacity. #1 job trainer and online for jobs is the library computer system. Right. Libraries are becoming job training centers. You have to reinvent them to make them part of this, when we talk about smart cities, that access. This should not come as a surprise. The world is being pulled apart by ethnicities, income, geography, access. If we don't use schools, parks, playgrounds, and transportation, public schools, public parks, public libraries, and public transportation to create cohesion and inclusion, then the model that we all believe in, or I assume we believe in, is over. The goal is not technology. Right. Technology enhances what you're trying to get towards, but the technology is a means, not an end. And thank you. I think sometimes we all talk to each other and then we get enamored with the tool as if that's what we're about, and we're not about that. Our L system, or our train, 2 years ago, we're the first system, and I think we're the only one right now that has 4G on it. So when you go underground, you don't lose any access. I say this, but I mean it. I don't mean it just as a joke. The new office is the train. Employers want people working not when they show up at work, but on their way to work and on their way to home.
Yeah.
And again, the goal was not the 4G. The goal was keeping access and making sure Chicago stayed competitive. Chicago, we have 140 languages spoken in our public schools. 83% of our kids are poverty or below. How do I ensure a recent immigrant child or a child of a recent immigrant family from Mexico or from any other part of the world access if you're writing a paper in 8th grade on the War of 1812? But you're not going to turn to your parents. You're not going to turn to your uncle. And you're going to need help just like your kids need help on those papers. So the library becomes a partner to our school system. It's not a separate institution. And B, the technology adding that wasn't the goal. The goal was to make sure every child had access to the support they need to succeed educationally. So that's a big piece of what I call infrastructure.